Oh, did I forget to mention that I had lied? I had lied like so much about how I didn't have any social media. The minute they ended things or called it off, oh my god, I'm in love, I'm obsessed, I love you, I need to be with you. And I'm just like, yes. I even went to your house one day, oh god, and I could Hey beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. My name is Justin. We are looking good, we are feeling good, and it has been a hot minute since I sat down and did like a chit chat style video, but I thought, hey, what the hell, and I'm actually going to be talking about dating, which I really have tried not to do too much for very good reason over the last few months. But I thought actually it would be kind of interesting for me to sit down and talk about my dating experiences since I went to therapy, like what's changed, what's not changed, what growth, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, keep on watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, make sure you give it a like, and feel free to comment below. Okay, so around, let's say, was it November last year or December? Maybe? No, before that. So I started therapy in September last year, September 2020, and one of the first things I did once I started therapy was I took down a lot of my old dating story times, and it was a little bit sad because even when I look back at some of those experiences, I kind of laugh internally because it was a struggle. Dating in my 20s, like wow, like I definitely had some experiences from turning up and people just being completely different to like what they look like in their pictures. Like people, I just like I'm thinking about certain ones and I'm just laughing. I remember this time like a sugar daddy kind of almost got me arrested in Nigeria. Like I didn't realize, this guy was saying, anyway, crazy. I've had lots of crazy experiences. You guys have probably seen quite a few of those videos. But when I started therapy, I took down most of those story times, if not all of them. I might have missed a few, I don't know. If I have missed a few, comment below, let me know the ones I've missed, and I'll go back and take those down as well. But the main reason I took those videos down, like boundaries was something I was obviously talking with my therapist about, but I was dating a guy at the time that I liked, and I called him Navy on Patreon. By the way guys, please don't follow me on Patreon unless you've reached out to me on Instagram first or email. I won't accept your follow or patronage, and you won't be able to see most of the content, so please don't do it. I see people doing it all the time, and then they message me, why can't I see the videos? Don't sign up, okay? Unless we talk first. But yeah, so I was dating this guy sort of September-ish last year, and things were going really well. I kind of liked him. He was a bit distant at times. I think we called him Navy on Patreon. But one day, maybe about a month plus into dating, he was at my house, and I opened up my laptop. We were gonna watch a movie or something, and I opened up my laptop quite absent-mindedly, and it opened to my YouTube channel. Oh, did I forget to mention that I had lied? I had lied like so much about how I didn't have any social media. I really wasn't into it. That's another thing about me before therapy. I always kept my social media and my channel a secret from the men that I dated. Obviously, if you're going to be talking about them, you don't then want them going to watch the video. So I always kept my social media a big secret. And then I'd been lying to this guy for weeks that I didn't have any social media, and then like the laptop opens up to my page just doing me, all the videos, and I didn't even realize straight away. I was so absent-minded. When I finally realized, I was like quickly trying to shut it down, but I felt like the damage was done. Like after that date, I never saw him again. He was distant for a few days. I imagine probably spent those days watching some of the videos on Just Doing Me, and then it was like, oh, I've got a better connection with somebody else. And I'm like, yeah, right, like literally just a week ago you were telling me how much you liked me and but it's fine. Like, so after that experience, that was one of the main things, like I was talking about it with my therapist, and I made the decision to take down those videos, because obviously it was a part of my life sharing all the negative experiences, but I can imagine to somebody brand new just watching negative, and you know, yeah, I can imagine how scary and intimidating that might be, and him thinking, oh God, what's she gonna say about me? And I had actually said some stuff about him, not really negative because I liked him, but you know, there were negative connotations. So after that I made a decision, like, look, take it down. And the funny thing is, that was like a lightning bulb moment. Before then I'd been in such denial about the men I dated being able to find my channel. I'm like, oh well, they're not going to find it, I don't use my name. And like, looking back, I was so bloody stupid and naive. Like, you know, there's really not that many memes on YouTube. Like, if you're using, just search my name, like I do have some very successful videos on YouTube, it's gonna come up. And I even look back on when I was dating Gabriel, and I should have known at the time. I thought, does he know about my channel? Does he not know? I remember one time we went for dinner, and I was dating Gabriel and Adrian at the same time. And for most of the time I was dating Gabriel, I was dating Adrian actually. And I remember I did a video about how Adrian ticked every single box. He was tall, he was successful, really good looking. And then Gabriel, not really my type, but I really liked him. And I think in that video I was like, you know, I'm really not interested in Adrian. You know, I just really like Gabriel. And then maybe like later that day or the day after that video went live, I went for dinner with Gabriel, and he was like, so he knew I had a YouTube channel actually. He did know, but he didn't know, I never told him what it was called or so I was convinced he didn't know. But he knew I had a channel. He saw me sometimes with the camera. We did some videos together even, but I wouldn't tell him what the channel was called. So when we sat out to dinner that day, like, he had such a big smile on his face, and he was like, so, filmed any interesting videos recently? And then I looked at him, I was like, does he know? Did he just watch the most recent video? And I was just like, yeah, well, all the videos I film are interesting, and brushed it off. But then even after that, where it was so glaringly obvious that he obviously knew my channel, I was still in denial about this. And like, looking back on certain things, like I remember when he said to me, like, because he knew I studied law, he knew how educated I was, and he was like, so Mimi, why don't you just like practice law, why don't you just do that then? Like, I think social media was a problem for him, and that was kind of his way of telling me without actually coming right out and saying like, social media, don't love it. But yeah, like, so that was funny. So anyway, I think all through my YouTube journey, I was always convinced these men would never find my channel, and to be honest, I think quite a lot of them, looking back, did, and that definitely negatively impacted relationships, where suddenly, like, they would suddenly change. Remember, I think I called him Pink, and he suddenly just ghosted me after I'd done a few videos about him, and I was convinced it wasn't anything to do with YouTube, but looking back, that was blatantly what it was, because the guy, I wasn't even interested in him. Anyway, let's go back to that. So that's one of the reasons I went to therapy as well, because not just because of YouTube, but because I had some very negative traits when it came to dating. Like, I would not be really interested in the guy I was dating. Like, I was like, yeah, he's alright, it's nice to pass the time. But the minute they ended things or called it off, oh my god, I'm in love, I'm obsessed, I love you, I need to be with you. And I was just like, you know, that's just, something's going on. Like, I didn't handle rejection very well. I couldn't take it. It's like the audacity, you trying to end things with me. Are you alright? You know, so it was like every situation, like, I would just become so obsessive, and so, like, I was sending like 40 text messages. Okay, that's crazy, I never did that. But you know, like, if they ended it, I'm like, what? Why? Talk to me. I would just go so crazy. And I did it with Navy as well. But I feel like that's one of the things that therapy really helped. When he was like, oh, I've got a better connection with somebody else, like I kept texting him. I even, God. And he knows about my channel now, so if you're watching, yes, I even went to your house one day. Oh God. Oh my God. I even went to his house one day. I think I was just trying to, because he was ignoring all my messages, and I just wanted to have a conversation. Like, that's another thing I can't stand, like not having closure. Like, I just wanted to have a conversation. Like, how can you 1 week be telling me how much you really like me, and then next week you've got a better connection with somebody else when you didn't even, I don't know. So I went to his house and I waited for a few hours in the corner in the bushes. Oh my God, I can laugh about it now because therapy has really worked wonders. He didn't come home, or he didn't come outside of his door, so in the end, and this was in England, it was cold, it was winter, in the end I had to go home. Like, yeah, like I had a very obsessive personality, and I did not take rejection very well. So that was one of the things that I feel like therapy really helped me with, because I liked him, but I didn't like him anywhere near enough to be waiting in the bushes just to surprise him when he came home. That was all about my ego and my pride, and the fact that I just couldn't have somebody tell me no, they didn't want me. And that was stuff that I talked to my therapist about. And the funny thing about it now is, like, we're actually pretty good friends. I never saw him after that date, where actually when he saw my channel, he kind of abruptly got up and he was like, I've got to go. But I never saw him again after that. When I went to Lanzarote last year, he surprisingly came there as well, and then we kind of started talking on social media. Like, I added him, kind of talking on social media, and now, like, he slides into my DMs a lot. If you're watching, yes you do, you know you do, you're in my DMs a lot. And we've actually got a pretty good friendship now. And I wouldn't go back there, because it just wasn't, my behaviour just wasn't anything to do with him and me really liking him. It was just my own issues. But anyway, the point I was trying to make is, like, the craziness never resulted in the outcome I wanted. I was always convinced, well, if I just keep texting them loads, if I hang out their house, we'll get to have a conversation, we'll finally get to talk, he'll realize he misses me, or no, it never worked. In fact, if anything, the constant messaging always pushed them away to like, what is wrong with you? Are you crazy? And then even in Lanzarote as well, I met a guy out there, and we had, I don't want to get into all this stuff, but we had a big fight. And actually, I lie, we didn't have a big fight at all. I'm so dramatic. He was really late to come and see me, and by the time he got there, I was fuming. When he got there, like, bearing in mind he looked stressed, he'd had a really bad day. I'd asked him earlier in the day to pick up some stuff for dinner. He'd gone to the supermarket, got the stuff, he came and probably thought he was about to relax, and I kicked off. I was just like, get out. I was like, get out. And he was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, get out. I literally threw this grown man out of my apartment, because I was like, how freaking dare you, like, be this late and not even message me? Oh my God, I was a wild one. So anyway, when I told my therapist about that, she was just like, Mimi, don't you think there are better ways to handle that? And it goes back to that saying, which I always try to remind myself, don't make permanent decisions off of temporary emotions, because by the next day I'd calmed down massively, and then I text him and he didn't text me back, so I texted him again, he didn't text me back. Like, he was pissed. Like, he was just like, I get it, like a grown man, like, you threw him out, like, he was really pissed. We ended up talking after he probably ignored me for like 4 or 5 days of constant messaging. Like, I would still do that constant messaging thing, like, how dare you ignore me? And we just kind of left it on a really good place. I was going back to England anyway, and we just left it in a good place. But I find like a lot of men, that's kind of how they communicate like that's not how they communicate, but that's part of the way they communicate. If they don't like something, they completely shut down, they ignore you, and I can't stand being ignored. And I had to really look at myself, like, look at the outcome you want. Is what you're doing, sending like 500 text messages back to back when they've not responded, going to get you the outcome you want? And it never does. If anything, they just like look at their phone like she's crazy, mute her, So I was still making a lot of the same mistakes, but after him, I just really looked internally. I was like, no, sis, like, you need to stop these self-destructive behaviors. Stop convincing yourself you're super in love with someone just because they've rejected you. Stop chasing and chasing and chasing just because you can't handle the rejection and constant messaging and also patience. Like, I'm a very impulsive, impatient person. I will pack my bags, get up and go in a heartbeat. Like, nah, I don't. I'm not even a planner. I just do what I want. And I hate when I don't have what I want. That's another thing I really, really worked on over the last few years. This wasn't therapy, this was the last few years. I worked on compromising, because especially in my 20s, I couldn't compromise. I want what I want and you need to give it to me. Very impatient, very impulsive, and sometimes I just have to learn that sometimes things don't happen at the right time. Sometimes you just gotta wait and see how things pan out. If they say today, or they're acting today like they don't want to talk to you, give it 5 days, give it 2 weeks. Like, don't chase them away. Like, people really be in their emotions sometimes. You can't expect somebody to forgive you when you've acted mad the instant you decide, okay, I've forgiven you, now you need to forgive me. No, it doesn't work that way. So patience is something that I really took away from therapy. I feel like it really helped me with the last guy I dated. We called him Jamie on Patreon, and that was just epic. I feel like a lot of the lessons I learned, I really tried to put it into practice with him. When he was really late, I was like, we ain't gonna throw this man out. We gonna learn from the previous mistakes. When like I was angry, I just wouldn't overreact in the moment. I would recognize that people are different, we see things differently. It's not as big a deal as I'm making it out in my head. He's not disrespecting me the way I'm convincing myself. Like, dating him was just so different, and I don't know if actually I think a lot of it was him, because he did tick all the boxes, but luckily as well, me being a much better person, a much better developed person, meant that we could have a healthy relationship for 3 months until he left and he's gone back to Germany. And I think when I found out he was going, I took it really well. Like, old Mimi would have, thrown some tantrums, kicked off, but I just took it really, really well. And he was kind of like, it's really not the best time. I'm starting a new job, I'm moving countries, long distance right now, not something that's really on the cards. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna leave it to God, I'm gonna leave it to the universe. If it's meant to be, it's gonna work itself out. I didn't send lots of messages, I didn't go crazy, I didn't go to his house. Some of you are like, go to Germany, girl, and get your man. I mean, I've gone to people's houses, but I've never like crossed the borders. And thankfully, I just don't feel like I need to do that. I feel like I know how good that situation was. He's got to know how good it was. If timing is right in the future, you don't know what's going to happen. But also, I'm not sitting at home waiting for that. Like, I'm in my prime, darlings. I gotta live. But I don't know, like, the whole point of this video was just talk about my growth. Especially in the last year. Like, I've grown a lot. I think you guys have seen a lot with my career. There's been a lot of growth there, but also in my love life there's been a lot of growth there. Just the way I handle certain situations, the way I handle rejections, and the way I view relationships for what they are now. I'm like, do I really like him, or is it just the games? Is it just the head fuck? Is it just the rejection? Like, you know, before I go crazy into that. I'm not gonna say I'm totally healed. Like, your good sis is still quite obsessive with her personality, but it's a work in progress. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and a little insight into what my dating life has been over the last year. Now, actually, because I have deleted all of those videos, I am more honest now in my relationships. I tell people, like, look, I do YouTube, I do social media. I even before, I would never add any guy I was dating to my Instagram, because then they would find my YouTube, so I would always lie and say I didn't have Instagram. Now I don't do that anymore. I'm just more open and more upfront and more honest, and I just think it's healthier. I'm happier and healthier. And yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment below, share your experiences. I'm even just looking good. Catch you guys in the next one.
Just say no, no.